Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. I decided to get out the house, go for a little walk. Ooh, that sun is, I think we ought to go this way. Yeah, that would be behind me. All right. This is Kim from the Active Life LLC, Dementia Care Activities for with the person in mind. And I'm making a video because I want to talk about caregiver burnout. Let me see. I don't even know where to start. First of all, I wanted to give a shout out to all the caregivers, those who are working in corporate arena, or those who are working in group homes, those working in private care. Thank you for all you do. You're making the difference in those people's lives. So know that what you do is vitally important, even if nobody has told you that. Somebody's coming on a scooter. Anyway, I know you work long hours, lots of days. When you're sick, you're oftentimes, if you work in the group home or private sector, you may not have medical coverage. And when you're sick, you don't get paid, which is a terrible thing to think of. So I'm sorry for that. Hopefully things will change in that regard somehow, some way. So I commend you for showing up and giving literally more than 100% as far as your commitment to your work, the work you do. But what I will tell you is at some point you have to take a break. I know I had a video talking about taking care of the caregiver, but I think this is a reminder because I see so often care staff these wonderful caregivers who have worked so long and so hard, and they're so tired. They are like completely exhausted. They have no energy. They don't want to take on any more responsibility except for what they already are doing. What do you call them? ADLs, activities of daily living. So beyond that, you talk about, I asked one caregiver she could do an activity, physical activity. And she was like, no. She said, I'm exhausted. And I understand that because she works alone and she works 7 days a week, which I don't even know how that's possible. 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. At some point, your brain says, like, I'm done. So with that in mind, how, and this is no knock on anybody, this is just the reality. If you are burnt out, you are tired, you are exhausted, you have nothing left, but you have 3 adult residents with dementia who depend on you every day to show up with energy, with enthusiasm, with things for them to do to keep themselves busy and occupied and to help keep them vibrant. How are we doing this? How is that going to happen? Something is going to get neglected, and this is not a good formula in this arena. We cannot have caregivers working at the point of exhaustion, mentally, physically, or both. They're not going to be able to give what they need to the residents. So how can we fix this? And I know it's going to be moolah, because we're either going to have to hire some additional staff to come in to give that caregiver a break for a day, have a registry, whatever, have somebody come in and give that person a day off, so that they can recoup, they can rest, they can gather their senses and whatever else they need to do, go to the doctor, make appointments, whatever. I know it's a sacrifice on somebody's part, but do we really want exhausted caregivers working with people with dementia? Some people can carry that load and still somehow, by the grace of God, maintain positive attitude and pleasantness, but there are many who can't. They're no longer smiling. They are just running on empty. And people with dementia, sometimes they read. Okay, I can't go that way. Turn around. Sometimes they read on your emotions. If you are frowning at them, if you are short-tempered, you have no patience, you're talking negatively to them, guess what that may cause? It's the A word, agitation. So now you got an even bigger problem because you got a burnt out caregiver and you got an agitated resident. And that's like adding kerosene to a fire. That's no good's gonna come out of that. So help me out. Let's get in the comments. Let's make some suggestions on how we can rectify this situation. Maybe somehow you might have to add another staff member so that caregiver is not working multiple days straight, over 12 hours or over. Now I don't know, I haven't done the research, but I'm taking a guess here. The brain, after so many hours of work, consecutive days, the brain, it doesn't shut off, but it's not working at full capacity. So we start making mistakes and we can't think straight. We start doing stuff that's out of our character. You can read between the lines. You might raise your voice. You might snatch. You might just do something from a reaction and not a response. And it's just not a good place. We want our caregivers happy, healthy, motivated, in good spirits. I mean, we can't make people happy per se, but when they're rested and they feel like a vital part of what's going on, they tend to be better at what they're doing. So we have to let them know that we care about them, we care about their health, and we do things to show them that we care. When it's National Caregivers Week, we're giving them cards, we're doing the flowers, we're giving them a gift card, we're doing something to acknowledge them and say, hey, this is your week. We want to let you know how much we appreciate you, how much we love you, how much we care. Let's not let National Caregiver Week go by and we haven't done anything for our caregivers. When their birthday comes around, I hope that we are acknowledging them, getting them a gift, letting them know we appreciate them, especially if they're working on their birthday. But that day off can mean you might get a new person that comes back to work if you're able to give them a break. And I know I'm not shelling out any money. If I was a millionaire, I would, but I'm trying to make it myself. But I don't think one day it's gonna break the bank. So I have seen too often exhausted caregivers, and like I said, sometimes it works out well and sometimes not so good. I'm gonna tell you a quick story about what happened when I was working in the community. I'm not gonna mention which one. But this caregiver, I can't remember, she was working 2 jobs. In any case, there was one of the residents was sitting in the wheelchair, and this caregiver decided to approach her from behind without letting her know, hey, I'm getting ready to push you over here because we're getting ready to do such, whatever. So she comes behind her and she just starts pushing the wheelchair. She frightened the woman out of her wits, and the woman called her the B word. And instead of the caregiver gathering herself, taking a moment, because I'm not making excuses, I'm just saying this is the kind of stuff that can happen. Her reaction was she called the woman a B in return. And I'm standing there like thinking, what is going on right now? And I had to pull her to the side and I said, no, you can't do this. I said, this can never, you can never respond back like that. Like, I understand, you know, you're exhausted, what have you, but this is not the way you respond. She doesn't know what she's doing. That's the disease talking. And you know, you got to analyze what happened that caused her to go into this agitated state and call you out of your name. Is it right? No, but this was her response. But we can't respond the way the resident responds in an act, when they're in an act of aggression, right? That only creates more aggression. So I share that story to say I have seen what happens, what can happen when you're working at exhaustion. It's not a good mix. So please, whatever as managerial you can do to, you know, give them a break. Specifically speaking, more for group homes, not necessarily the senior community, but in group homes, when it's one staff member and they're working consecutive days, long hours, they need to rest. If you want to maintain a good reputation, have people know your place as a place where they care, they give good care, the caregivers are pleasant, the residents are happy, you have to make sure you take care of your staff. And so, yeah, I'm not sure of all the answers to this situation, but I think we need to put our heads together and come up with some, because this problem is only going to get bigger. And we need to make sure we are rested and ready each day to interact with love and kindness and compassion and dignity with our residents. Again, I'm shouting out to all of you caregivers. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your birthdays and holidays that you've been at work away from your family. Thank you. I'll be the first to tell you we appreciate you. I don't know if I could do it. I come in, do activities, and then I'm out. There's a whole nother 10 hours, 11 hours that goes on after that with the care staff. So just feel the love. Know that somebody appreciates you. You guys are rock stars. So let's help them continue to be rock stars. Let's acknowledge, let's give rest, respite, whatever you want to call it. But pay attention to your caregivers. If they're not smiling, if they just in there working, you know, you might pull them aside, have a talk with them. It just might be that they're completely exhausted and they need a day off. All right, that's all for today. I've been thinking about that for a couple of days now. I haven't made a video in a while. Caring for your care staff. It's a huge thing that cannot be avoided. So do what you can. Even if it's just half a day, a couple of hours for them to get away, let them take a long lunch. I don't know, but let's do something. Okay? All right, that's all. This is the Active Life LLC. My name is Kim. My story is my father had Alzheimer's, and after he passed away, I got into working with activities, and now I have my own business called the Active Life LLC. If you are in the state of Arizona, in Queen Creek, Gilbert, or Chandler, and you are looking for someone to come in and do activities with your group in your group home, you can contact me, email at theactivelifeaz@gmail.com. All right, that's my little short shameless plug. Have a good evening, and I'll see you on my next video. Until then, take care. Toodles.